Here at Eric Musyoka's studio. First of all, how gorgeous is this? And I'm curious to hear from the man himself, the big dog, what it's been like being in this industry for 20 plus years. So let's go. All right, so before we started rolling, I noticed like Eric was like making beats even when you're not working.
Yeah, kind of.
Were you do you think that's because of, being in the industry for 20 plus years and doing this, that you're like even when you're sleeping, you're just like...
Yeah, because it's the only thing I know how to do. So
wow.
like the body has gotten into a kind of a pattern that
Yeah.
I can't undo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So interesting. So I know it was, I think the year was 1997. Am I right?
Yes.
When you were in the band.
Yeah.
A rap group.
Professionally.
Yeah, rap group.
Yes.
So tell me, was that, before that, did you pursue music seriously, or was it just a hobby?
It grew out of interest because my dad used to be a guitarist. And we used to live next to the Machakos showground. So when the show was going on, the music would be so loud I could hardly sleep. So the curiosity of just wanting to see how the bands were performing, how the DJs were playing, I got interested, and from there I just pursued it.
Yeah.
Then we moved to Nairobi, and I went to a group of schools.
Okay. Okay.
Not a police station.
Yeah.
And there I took piano classes, and my teacher was one Victor Say.
Whoa.
Yes, he was our extracurricular activity teacher. So he taught me piano lessons when I was in class, I think 6.
Wow.
Class 6. Yeah. He may not remember it, but I was one of his students. I mean, he had many students.
Yeah.
So he taught me how to play the piano. Then from there, I just progressed. When I went to high school, I just continued, and I met this bunch of wild boys, and we were riotous, and music was our thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there came the birth to the band.
Yes.
Sonoma.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So at some point you then decide, actually, the way that you want to pursue music as a career is not as a rapper, but as a producer.
Yeah, because it's very difficult to write.
Okay, to write. So that's why?
Yeah, also stage fright. I used to be very shy. Then I'm a very private person. So when you're out there, everybody just wants to know your business. So actually, after performing for 3 years, I was like, it's not really my thing.
Yeah.
When I'm in front of people, I just get a bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Of course, right now, things have changed. I
Okay.
mean, I'm more bolder. I know how to express myself.
Right.
But, just the problems of being a young person.
Yeah. It's funny. I mean, Magix was telling us about that earlier. And essentially what he was saying is that it's gotten to the point where people come to his doorstep.
Yeah.
They'll come to with letters. Like, it's almost like the idea of privacy. You sort of have to relinquish that to some extent once you become a public persona.
Exactly. And I'm sure you know that.
Yeah. So then you get into the world of music production.
Yes.
Was that a natural transition for you, or did... Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was very natural because I used to compose the songs for the group. So for me, I was like, hey, you guys go be seen, let me stay at the back.
Yeah.
So that's how I took it.
Yeah. Who was the first person that you worked with?
The first person I ever recorded in a recording studio was one Giuliani.
Look at that. Look at that. No big deal. Just drop that name. Boom. So,
apart from ourselves.
Right.
Yeah, he was the first artist I ever made a track and recorded.
So how did you get that? Did you have a rapport with him, or friendship? So how did it come about?
We used to be signed to a label, and when the label folded, we were let go. One of the DJs who used to work in the label introduced me to the Kalamashaka guys. Okay. So in the process, the Kalamashaka guys told me, we have young guys who want to record. Yeah. Then I met Giuliani in the process. Wow. But Giuliani that time, we were all nobodies actually. All of us, we were nobodies. Yeah. Of course, I had some clout because I'd been in the industry for a while. Yeah. And I had access to Kalamashaka. Yeah. So Juliani was one of the first artists I ever recorded professionally.
Yeah.
Besides my group.
Right, besides a group. And since then, I mean, over the years, circle grew and grew and grew. And I think, I mean, I was looking at the list of people that you've worked with, and I just was like, is there anyone who you haven't worked with? Is there, I mean...
The new guys, just...
Oh, yeah. But
Mostly
essentially,
the new
all the
kids.
hits, like in the 2000s, like the hits that we used to jam to and be like, this is everything. I mean, I kid you not. I remember we'd be in the house, my mom, my brother, and myself. I don't know, I think my dad may have been at work. I don't know where he was. But we would be just like blasting Kenyan music and like, you know, proper singing along, knew all the lyrics. It was just... like iconic moments in my life.
Yeah.
And to know that you were behind that...
Thank you.
It's just mind blowing. I mean, you've won awards. You've been in the game for years. You've worked with the who's who in this industry, and in the 20 years, I'm sure 20 plus years, I'm sure you've witnessed a lot that's changed in this industry.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
What are some of those big ones that you can highlight? Big changes.
Recording on a computer. When I started recording music, we were recording on tape. There are no softwares. For 3 years, all my music was an ADAT machine. Yeah. So never seen a wave file. So when the technology came, I mean, for me it was like, I can see my snare, I can see my bass line, I can see the vocal. For that technological change, leap was something huge.
Yeah.
Also transitioning to MP3.
Right.
And
did you resist it at all, or were you able to just flow?
For us guys, we can't resist because we are third-party users. You know, it starts in America, goes to... So us guys, we just adopt what's in the market. So there are already guys who've set the standards in the market. Yeah. Then the other thing was the advent of social media. I mean, that was... I mean, it was a game changer.
How so?
Because social media allowed a certain level of access and... a certain level of access to me and also to talent and also marketing yourself that didn't exist. That if it had been there, I think our industry would have been something else.
In a good way or
in a good way?
In a good way.
I mean, if the Kenyan music industry was at its peak in 2006, 5-6. Yeah. If social media was there, then would be what Nigeria is now.
It would be, I mean, it would be...
It was massive.
Yeah.
But we're getting there. I think there's a new crop of artists who are really pushing the movement, and also Kenyans themselves have started really embracing their own sound. You know, there's a very huge young population that's coming up, and that's their sound, and they want something that's unique to them.
Was there a period in which we sort of lost ourselves, or even lost that kind of pride in our own, or ownership of our own music? Yes,
definitely. We didn't really lose it. The artist became complacent. Okay. I mean, that's how I look at it. I mean, guys stopped wanting to be musicians. Right. So there was like a kind of a lull in the industry whereby, we are the guys running the stuff. So, you know. Okay. So then we let other people who are way more hungry than us come and fill that gap. Yeah. So it happens when something is successful, it's very easy to get to the top, but difficult to keep.
To stay at the top.
Yeah. In 2013, yes. Pato Ranking's manager. Okay, I don't think they're still with he's still with that team anymore. She came scouting for radio interviews for him. She was seated here in this studio with me. Wow. Saying, now we have this new artist called Pato Ranking. We're trying to get him out to the market, And 2 years later, Pato Ranking was performing in Kenya. Yeah. And right now he's phenomenal. So there's a level of aggressiveness that we lacked that I'm seeing it with these young guys. Yeah. And it's really energizing me to the point that I'm like, yo, this is why I'm doing music. This is it.
Did you give in to the social media wave?
For me, one thing that social media has taught me is just be open to ideas. It's the same thing of investing, but it's a risk. You gamble. Let me invest in it, and in future it might grow and give me good returns. Yeah. So when you notice a trend, pay attention to it. Just follow it. You don't have to hate it, because for me my hatred was because I didn't understand it.
Right.
I should have been patient enough to see where it goes. So I mean, I've learned a lot. I mean, for me, social media is it's a very big lesson.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Good.
And in fact, when I see what you guys do, I mean, I'm like, how do you guys have the guts? As in, how did Sharon record that thing? How does she get a YouTube account? How does she, it's very interesting. I follow a lot.
But
I follow you guys.
I could say the same about what you do, because it's so different from anything that I've ever known. And I know in many instances you've had to push yourself out of the box. I know. I mean, we're talking about you as a music producer, but I know you've composed scores for. Whether it's shows and movies. What movie were you? Nairobi Half-Life?
I did Nairobi Half-Life.
Yeah, Nairobi Half-Life. Right. And
Disconnect.
Exactly. So you've been, I'm sure all of these things are pushing you into a space that's so new. And I would say the same.
Oh, yeah.
About like, I don't know how you do it. I don't know, Musyoka, I don't know how you do it. So...
Yes.
Now that we're here, and I'm literally in your den, in your world, I would love if you could like end this show with a classic, and maybe you could tell us a little bit about which one you choose and why you've chosen it.
For me, one of my most iconic songs that I personally feel I outdid myself was Just a Band, Hahe. That song, even the inception of the idea itself was just radical from the start. Yeah. And I had just come from the US. So I'd been working, I started working with Punit before I went to the US. So when I came back, I got them signed onto my label. Then we started working on their album. I didn't have a car at that time. So I was in this matatu. I just finished a breakfast meeting at Yaya Center. So I'm in the matatu. Then I'd mixed Just a Band's first album, Scratch to Reveal. But I wasn't thinking of Just a Band at that time. I was doing a track for P Unit. So I started thinking of a radical track. I mean, inspired by Just a Band. Just something very, very out of the box. So I started humming the melody, then I recorded it on the phone. So I got to the studio, and that's one of those songs that everything I touched was the right sound.
So in that moment, where do you think that's coming from? Like, is it like in your cells? Is it a spiritual thing?
It's spiritual. It's a spiritual experience, because for me, by the time I'm finishing a song, I've had that song in my mind. I already know where the guitar is gonna be, which vocal is gonna be, which reverb I'm gonna use. So
do you know which artist is going to sing it to?
Most of the time, yes. Wow. But sometimes when they actually come to sing it, it may not work. Okay. They may not be in a capacity. You've had them singing the song in your head, but capability-wise, they can't bring out the emotion and the attitude is not right. Okay. That's exactly what happened with that song. So I did the track, and I had never, it's a sound in Logic, the software I use. I had never even had it. As in, I just opened guitars, and it's the first sound I touched, and it landed smack on the key of the demo.
It doesn't feel. I'm getting goosebumps. I'm just like, this is a spiritual moment. This is art.
So it's and when you hear the sound when I'm gonna play it, it's a weird. I've never done a song with it.
No, of course we've got to play it, and what a great way to end this show. Why don't we play it?